Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I'll bring to you a bit of a you told me so. I've done enough videos where I'm like, I told you. So it's about time that we talk about you all telling me something. Special shout out to Doctavian and Connor Noakes, into which when I was covering the Necrons changes and I think another video. I might be missing somebody too. I'm sorry if I've lost your comment. I went to see if I can find whoever told me. Um, but you know, I was like, "Whoa, we got Star Shatter. Who gives a fuck about what happened to Annihilation Legion? I don't care. It's a bad detachment anyway." And then a couple of you, the people that I just said, were like, "No, actually, hold on. It's kind of good now. Like not good, but like it's playable now." Now, it could be good too. Actually, let me not just give that caveat too, but I don't want to put the blame on other random people. I'll be the one to say I think it's kind of good now. Annihilation Legion in the balanced data slate got the change that each time a destroyer cult unit from your army makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible target, add one to the AP characteristic of that attack. And it's funny, I kind of am going back to this for two reasons. I've gone through a couple of the Grotmus detachments I deemed bad and figured out if there's anything salvageable about them, and one of them was Leagues of Votan, into which you get this. And I explain why that means you don't need your army rule. Where I tried to make an attempt at explaining why I think you don't need your army rule is tough, right? Um, so that rule kind of applies this way over here too, where Annihilation Legion just got better. Like unironically, it might be playable, and I think the funny thing that's going to happen is this is going to be a nice pocket pick. This is I know I'm mainly a Tyrannage player, but Necron secondary, right? This is going to be me relating it against my main army and shit, but you're going to see Star Shatter. And if you're watching this as a non-Necrons player, you're going to see Star Shatter. I'm still laughing because a lot of people are going to over prepare for T9 vehicles. They are. And then, for example, the Grotmus things that have been happening so far, you haven't seen a lot of Star Shatter just whooping ass, and I highly doubt nobody's brought it out to see what it's like these past few weeks. So that's going to be funny, especially when the things that we have been seeing are a lot of infantry beating the fuck up whatever else. With things like Creations of Bile, Orc's Tactical Brigade has been doing pretty nicely apparently. Um, so we've been seeing a shift towards that. And I think Annihilation Legion has the opportunity to do something really fucking funny. Because it does go into melee pretty well. And this change might make it so that it goes into vehicles kinda well too. Oh, uh, Grey Knight's Bane Task Force is also the Dread Knight build and the non-Dread Knight build. This might this might catch people off guard, and that's the funniest thing you can do to get a win. So, why is Annihilation Legion's simple change so much better? Well, I have more knowledge from things that other things received, and people tell you and demonstrate how it's good there. So now I'm here to tell you about how it's good here, and it's always been good here. But I was too much of a piss baby to figure out if that was actually good here. So, Annihilation Legion still has each time a destroyer code or flayed one unit from your army declares a charge, you can reroll the charge. If one or more targets of the charge are below half strength, add one to the charge. Cool, fine, dandy. Eternal Madness, Fight on Death is okay. I still don't like that it's 25 points for 4 ups, but that's whatever. Ingrained Superiority. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack on a critical wound, improve the AP penetration characteristic of that attack by 1 for 10 points on a Locust Lord. Your unit attacking the closest eligible target on critical wounds is AP2. And I have the sheets of Destroyer Cult up and Flayed ones because there's not too many. So I don't really have to go, alright, good here. Bam, we're going to walk through all of them in this one. But that's funny in its own right. And then Eldritch Nightmare for 15 points is something also I didn't give credit towards enough of because I've seen the light a little bit thanks to Flyblown Host and the Nemesis Claw. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer must take a battle shock test. I'm like, why do we need this? We don't do battle shock things here. Except you might. Or, okay, maybe not for more than this unit. Let me not go that far. But for 15 points, potentially turning off the thing that you are going into for some armies, because this is a battle shock test and not like Nemesis Claw, for some armies you will turn off shit like Tau guiding or uh I'm blanking right now on another thing immediately, but something like that. As well as battle shock applying to anybody, you will turn off stratagems. So Armor of Contempt already got nerfed, but now you really don't have to worry about it. Or something like that. So for 15 points, that's a lot better than I've ever given it credit for. And I have seen that now with Fly. Was it? No, there was the Dark Angels one. Lion Blade Task Force. Was it also Flyblown Host? I'm forgetting. But also with the Nemesis Claw unit. I'm like, okay, wait, actually that's actually worth 15 points now. And Ingrained Superiority is definitely worth the 10. Eternal Madness, if I have another 25 left, I'll take it. I'm not too upset that I won't take it, but there's that. And then Soulless Reaper, I'm still not high on. So maybe if one of you that told me about Annihilation Legion being good now, or anybody else can tell me that Soulless Reaper is the sauce, fuck it, lay it on me. For the stratagems, we have your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. One destroyer cult or flay one unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, -1 to hit. This is really good in the sense that it's not stealth. Uh, again, coming off the back of looking at Votan, that searchlight scroll bar flashlight thingy where it's +1 to hit versus stealth, this doesn't cover that. And I've been talking about how the game lately has been pushing a lot towards -1 to hit. So this will cover when you need it in both in shooting or fight phase, right? So that's better. I already knew it was okay, but now it's better. Then we go to Pitiless Hunters. Something I definitely did not rate highly until once again we look at Flyblown Host, or I looked back into Unending Swarm for Tyranids. Pile in or consolidate up to 6 inches instead of 3. This means you will be slingshotting units across the fucking table, and there might be speed on these units compared to it being Death Guard, or compared to it being, okay, well, in Tyranids it's also fast units there too. Uh, but that that's actually a lot better for 1 CP than I've ever given it credit for. And now that my eyes have been open to it, because I've always written off the I don't care about consolidate, because I, not to give myself too much of an excuse, but an invasion fleet is just consolidate or a normal move basically. The fact that it's pile in or consolidate means both actions. You can sling the fuck across the table on this unit during the fight phase. The Spore of Frailty, shooting phase or the fight phase. Uh, Destroyer Code of Flay ones. I'm not going to keep going that because that's all of them, right? But until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit below starting strength, add 1 to the hit roll. Now, below starting is tedious, but that's not the hardest requirement ever. And it does go to the flavor, so I'll take it. And below half strength, +1 to wound. This flavor of ability gets a lot of shit because it's already out the door. However, this means that for 1 CP, your heavy destroyers that shot a vehicle, got it close to being dead, didn't really finish off the job. And sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes you just can't get the job done. Um, or something like that, right? Any of your things that left a target below half strength. This means onto any of those things, vehicles included, you have units with +1 to wound, right? If you had a vehicle that was on 11 wounds at the start and now it's on 5, now you throw some random bullshit that is +1 to wound versus it, and there's some things in here that could do pretty mean things, and now it's like, why am I getting wounded by this little shit? This is the follow-up punch that, yeah, you would like to get +1 to wound or +1 to hit off of the rip, but for 1 CP, other armies would like that. Now mind you, Star Shatter Arsenal does have an example of just getting +1 to wound, right? However, the target has to be on an objective. So there is an additional hoop to jump through. If it's not touching the objective, that tank in this theoretical tank, right? If it's not on an objective, it's just on the line shooting your shit. I'd rather have the Spore of Frailty. I'd rather have the Spore of Frailty. Spore of Frailty. There we go. So yeah, just that's better than I've given it credit for in the past as well. Blood Fueled Cruelty. This one is still whatever. But if your opponent does a fallback move, if they were within engagement range of, your shit, roll 1d6 on a 2 through 5, d3 mortals, on a 6, 3 mortal wounds. Your unit can then make a normal move, must end that move as close as possible to the enemy unit. I'm still not seeing a lot of fallback moves. However, I accidentally just told a fib. Um, I have talked about how the recent detachments have incorporated more fallback, shoot, and charge, fallback, shoot, whatever. Because a lot of units would like to do that. Hell, was it the Blood Angels detachment gives the infantry, and I'm just going to stick with infantry. I think there's another one. I'm blanking right now on that too. The possibility of fallback and charge. Now, with all of these things popping up, Blood Fueled Cruelty does get better. Murderous Reanimation is still cool. If you destroy an enemy's unit or put them below half strength, activate reanimation protocols. And Insanity's Ire, your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has shot. If one or more models of yours were destroyed, Blood Surge. Well, technically not a Blood Surge because it's not a surge move. That makes it better as well. Surge moves, well, I guess they got hit because you can't do Battle Shock. Can't do it if you're Battle Shocked, or well, technically you can't do this if you're Battle Shocked either. It's a strat. But once per phase or some shit like that. Anywho, the fact that this is you can make a normal move but must end that move as close as possible to that enemy unit, you have your own distance to go. It's not a surge of d6, it is your distance because it is a normal move. And however you want to finagle end that move as close as possible to that enemy unit, go ahead, lock it in. So, that brief overview just says Annihilation Legion. Yeah, it's actually better, like a lot better. Is it still the worst one? Yes, it is still the Okay, hold on. Yeah, I think it's still the worst one. Obeisance Phalanx at least gives crit 5s to like several other things and helps vehicles in a different way. So I think it is still the worst one, but it's playable now. Like, of course, I think in terms of power, you automatically go Star Shatter, but honestly, I'm just so over the talk of it that I'm not rating it that high, so I think Hypercrypt still might beat it. Canoptic Court might not be. that strong anymore. But neither here nor there. It's probably still the worst detachment, but not worst in the sense that it's that bad now. Worst in the sense that it's restrictive, and the other ones give you a little bit more freedom, I guess. So, getting on to the data sheets. Flayed ones, I realized in my last Annihilation video how good these are. For 120 points for 10 models that are now slingshotting across the table that had infiltrate and stealth, a 5-inch move with a pile in consolidate 6 inches, and I just need them to do a wound to most things to turn on the rest of my shit. Yeah, that's good. Locust Lord. Crits on 5s leading the unit. Each time this model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit that is below half strength, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Fine. Uh, Nano Scarab Amulet, 5 up, feel no pain. For the bearer, Res Orb. We know what Res Orbs do. Resurrect some protocols unit. Blah 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 blah. Locust Lord, cool. Really just want to put it mainly so you can put on attachments. And, well, Crits on 5 is really good too. But, Locust Lord. Now you're actually taking it in Annihilation Legion and going to the Heavy Destroyers example. With Admitted Exterminators, you have the option to reroll wound rolls of 1 into things that aren't monsters and vehicles. That's it. It doesn't say infantry, it says not monsters and vehicles. So bees, swarms, mounted, whatever the fuck. 36-inch range, heavy, rapid fire 6, sustained hits 1, hitting on 3, strength 6, AP 1, damage 1. Now, the strength does hold it back, per se. However, you are now able to access AP 2, possibly AP 3 with an enhancement with rapid fire 6, so 12 attacks per model. 36 attacks between 3 models. Yeah, I think I'll take that. The Gauss Destructor, heavy lethal hits. Taking that AP 4 to an AP 5 with a lethal hit, kind of funny. That means some vehicles that don't have an invuln, some monsters that don't have an invuln while you're getting reroll wound rolls of 1 into them. That means that they're just eating the damage 6. And again, if this is the enhancement on a critical wound, and it's the closest eligible target, it's AP 6. Mean they are just eating the damage. So, yeah, this is good now. Like it's insane. The regular destroyers, lethal hits. They get reroll hit rolls of 1 if it targets the closest eligible enemy unit. And if that enemy unit is within range of an objective marker, you can reroll the entire hit roll instead. So 6 models with lethal hits, bonus AP going from 2 to 3, rerolling hit rolls of 1. This is the one where I genuinely think instead of kitting any Locust Heavy Destroyer with the Gauss Destructor, I think you just take Locust Destroyers and let them lethal hit in here. 3 attacks each, 18 attacks across all of them. Now, mind you, the range is much shorter. It's literally half. But I think with the reroll hit rolls of 1 and the AP lethal hits, you might pick up more that way. I think. Scorpic Lord still is nice, but does have a ranged weapon that's kind of funny to think about. So for a couple of chips with the Scorpic Lord in one phase, the shooting phase, you now turn on the rest of your abilities. Whoopsie. Turn on the rest of your abilities for shit like a. Maybe if you did put it below half strength too, +1 to charge. There, but you can turn on shit like the Spore, Frailty, or finish off something for murderous reanimation. Yeah, make murderous reanimation easier to obtain. Don't necessarily have to put it that way, in the sense of getting below half in the shooting, but just take steps towards that so you can trigger murderous reanimation. Ooh, I was thinking about it, but saying it out loud, you go, that's actually a bit better. Score Peck Destroyers are still bringing them. They have reroll hit rolls of 1. Make a charge move, reroll the entire hit roll instead. Dev wounds. The AP won't change, but +1 to charge possibly after the aforementioned Score Peck Lord gets in there. Or just rerolling charges anyway. It's going to be nice. And Ophidian Destroyers is actually the only thing that I don't think my opinion has gone up on. I don't think I'm higher up on them than I was before. And did I forget? I did. Hexmark Destroyer. This, however, pistol ignores cover going to AP3. Yeah, lone op, deep striking lone op, free Overwatch, hits on 2, AP3. Doesn't sound too bad. Doesn't sound too bad. And again, you're just using these to turn on the rest of your shit. Ignores cover AP3 pistol. I like it. So yeah, thanks for telling me I should. Well, thanks for telling me that Annihilation Legion is better now, like more than I was giving it credit for. You didn't necessarily say, "Hey, you should go check that out again." But I appreciate anybody that takes the time and goes, you know, it's actually nice if you kind of know what you're doing, right? Again, not saying that those were the comments, but if somebody takes the time and goes, "It's better," it's better. And then I take the time and go, "Wait, shit, you're not lying. Annihilation Legion might actually be playable now." So, yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.